What if I told you that in order for you to quantum leap right now and change the course of your life, it wasn't in hustling more or listening to more videos, watching more videos, or doing more meditation, but it was simply in deciding to have an important meeting with the different versions of yourself. So imagine that your future version, the future version of yourself, the one that has everything that she or he has ever dreamed of, right? The accomplished version of yourself walks into this board meeting with the current version of yourself, this version listening, watching this, and the past versions of yourself. And I'm talking about the broken versions of yourself, the child version, the teenage version, the college version, the broke version, the cheated on version, and so on. All the versions of yourself that suffered some sort of disappointment. You're going to hold that meeting and you're going to ask important questions. You can design your own set of questions, the kind of questions that perhaps you want to ask because you didn't get a chance to fully understand where you were at that time. Where did we go wrong? What was I missing that brought me into the reality that I lived or experienced, or even this current reality? You can ask and look at your life in retrospect and take note and listen carefully to the past versions of yourself. Now, what you're going to do, and this is where you can have the most amazing breakthrough of your life. Once you sit down and ask those questions, you note everything down without any judgment, coming from a place of love. You're going to have to make this hard decision. And this is where it gets tricky. And I had to do it myself. And this is why I'm sharing it with you. I decided on having to let the inner child in me die. I know if this word triggers you, I'm going to say I had to put her to sleep. I had to put the inner child in me to sleep. The teenage version of me, I had to put her to sleep. I had to let her go because it occurred to me, in order for me to fuse with the future version of myself, I could not carry that inner child any longer. Listen, I'm not saying to neglect, those emotions, the feelings of the past that made you who you are right now, the current version of yourself. We're not denying what you've gone through, what you experienced, the pain, the neglect, the abandonment. We're not neglecting those things at all. We are not rejecting them. We're simply deciding to have a face-to-face meeting, acknowledge everything, ask the important questions, and then release. You release that version of yourself because who you are today has nothing to do anymore with that version. Because if we accept that there is only the now moment, so then you can agree that the past does not exist. It only exists in imagination. So is the future version. But now here's the thing. You can either choose to fuse with the past version of yourself to keep telling the story, or you can decide to fuse with the future version of yourself, the one that has accomplished everything. We are moving forward. We're not moving backward. So I'm guessing that you want to fuse with the future version of yourself, the one that's paid all her bills, the ones that married the SP, the one that has the house of her dream or his dream, the car, the career, the children, you name it, traveling and all that. So we have to live constantly in motion, looking forward to what we want to truly experience, the desires of our hearts and souls and mind and spirit. We want to live in that. And this is what I always mean, but this is what I mean when I say you live in spirit, you attain it in spirit. This is where we live most of the time when you are in imagination. But unfortunately, some of us choose to live in imagination, but with the past versions of ourselves that were broken, that were disappointed, that were neglected and abandoned. So have that face-to-face meeting with these versions of yourself, the past versions of yourself, acknowledge, The teenage girl in you, the teenage boy in you, the pain, the trauma, the suffering, the abandonment, acknowledge all of that, hug her or him, give her the love, give him the love, anything that you wanted to know, let her or him tell you everything. That she never had the courage to tell anyone, or he had never had the courage to tell anyone. Have that deep conversation. Now, me, what I did, I literally killed her. I said, that's it, we're done. It's over. I'm no longer that Cathy from 10, 15, 20 years ago. I'm not the 5-year-old Cathy. I'm an adult now, and I am in control now. My 5-year-old self cannot be in control of me right now. Does that make any sense to you? Would you ever let a 5-year-old child control you? No, you are the adult. You make the decisions. You make the decision right now to acknowledge her feelings and emotions, the tantrum and all of that, and let her go. Again, like I said, if the word die is a trigger for you, I say put her to sleep or put him to sleep. It is in a way, if we talk about the ego death, it is the same thing. Because the ego is just like these past versions of ourselves, stuck in moments, stuck in experiences, stuck in trauma. And obviously, the only thing they know how to do is to find an anchor. And every new version of yourself becomes an anchor, which they pull back, towards the past. They pull backwards. It's not their fault. They just don't know how to cope. They were never taught that. So the ego loves to attach itself to these stories because that's all they know, which makes sense if you think about it logically, right? But you being in the present, who understands and who is in control, who's the commanding power, you say, no, not anymore. We're not 12 years old. The experience might have happened to me when I was 12, but the version that I am right now is in control. And she has, or he has, this under control. And that's it. I'm the CEO now. And I make the decisions. And I say, no, you cannot pull me backwards because we're moving forward. The future version of yourself is waiting for you, is in that meeting, right? So he or she's about to leave. What are you going to do? Are you going to stay in the room with the past versions of yourself? Or are you going to go with the future version of yourself where you can merge together, fuse together, become one, and wait for your desires to show up? But when I say wait, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying wait 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. Obviously fuse with that future version of yourself and accept that they are happening in the now and they will manifest in the flesh, because that action that I just described to you is an action done in imagination or spirit. You become strong there, meaning that nothing can nothing can disturb that act that I just described, right? And you let it show in the flesh. It will manifest in the flesh. It has already happened, because once that fusion and that merge happens, it's going to show up. You just have to believe it, and then you're going to see it, right? So to go back, right, over everything I just described, have the meeting with the versions of yourself, the broken versions of yourself in the present. The current version of yourself right now is the witness. Have the conversation. Your future version is having the conversation and asking those questions with the past versions of yourself. Acknowledge everything, all the emotions, everything that's ever happened. You acknowledge, you embrace. You let her die. You let him die. Every single version that you can think of, put them down one by one. If there are 10 versions where you felt broken, and I'm not talking about just a small disappointment because that's part of life. I'm talking about real experiences that really broke you, the true you, the infinite you. You feel like that destroyed that part of you, right? Because you want to return to the limitless self or limitless version of yourself, right? So you're going to have that meeting. You ask the questions, like I said, you let her die or you put her to sleep. You let him die or you put him to sleep. That's the ego's job, to keep you in the past. But you know better. The current version of yourself know better and understand the game. You say no, right? And then you allow your present self to fuse with the future version of yourself, the one that has everything. Once you do that, This is how you quantum leap. I promise you. It doesn't take any meditation to quantum leap. It doesn't take drinking a glass of water in a certain way at a certain time. It doesn't take that. I talk about rituals here on this channel. It's just to help you as far as it is just to help you vibrate higher, okay, to change your frequency. That's what they're meant for. I talk about other things just to help you vibrate at a higher frequency. But the mind is important as well as the spirit. Those two, they come together, right? So you're going to do that. Once you do that, this is how you have the most important breakthrough of your life. This is how you quantum leap. Have that meeting, let those versions die, and then fuse or merge with the future version of yourself, and everything is going to show up for you. That's it, guys. I'm Kati. This is the Metaphysical Babes. Thank you for watching this video. Let's continue to prosper together.